Good afternoon. Dear colleagues, it is a great pleasure for me to present the COMPAL program to all of you. This is indeed longest and most successful capacity building project UNTACT has undertaken in the area of competition and consumer protection, and one that I affectionate particularly. The greatest strength of the program are the following. A very compact and mobilized membership of consumer protection and competition authorities, long-lasting and high impact activities that have been tested over time, and 50-50 co-financing of activities. We have been able to ensure a very high level of appropriation by beneficiaries. Indeed, regional cooperation on consumer protection and competition has never been so ripe. We are looking forward to bringing cooperation to the next level, and we want you to be a part of it. We will hear the experience of 3 members: the Consumer Protection Agency of Costa Rica, the experience of the Permanent Mission of Guatemala, and the experience of the former head of the Peruvian agency, who has been a part of COMPAL for over 6 years. Let me now give the floor to Mr. Arnau Izaguirre, who has been responsible for implementing the 3rd phase of the program since August 2015.
Thank you very much, Juan Luis. And thank you all for coming to this COMPAL event. My presentation will be very brief because I know that the most interesting part of any project is talking about and to the beneficiaries. Let me just relate to this little brochure that is now being circulated. You will find more or less what we do and how we do it. But more importantly, you get a QR code that takes us directly to this beautiful website. And in here, you'll be able to navigate into our own COMPAL, both in English and in French. And you'll be able to learn more of what we do. COMPAL, since the outset, has nourished both national capacities and technical cooperations. We have done more than 15 national laws in the past 15 years, and has also nourished regional cooperation. As Juan Luis said, regional cooperation at this moment in Latin America is as ripe as it could be. We believe that all member states of COMPAL now share very strong common ground where to build consumer protection and consumer policies, and this will let us go forward much, much quicker in the future. I would now like to give the floor to Maricruz Goñi, who has been with us for maybe over 6 years. So she knows us inside out. She'll tell you more about us. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Maricruz Goñi. I work in the National Consumer Commission of Costa Rica. For Costa Rica, it's a pleasure to be here. And now let me introduce for this next video of the importance of COMPAL program for these members. Please pay attention on the screen, and thank you.
Here you see the flags of our 16 members currently, which include almost all Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maricruz. This is great. I would now like to give the floor to Deborah Ponce, who has been very close to COMPAL activities. She's always been close from here, from Geneva, and we also want to share her view. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a presentation. I don't know if... Well, I would like to thank UNCTAD for the opportunity and for all of you for being here and sharing with us also your experiences. I've noticed from the video and from the photographs that you're going to see about the event that many of you attended, and I can see that you already, the links between each other have been formed, because I can see that you are now friends and are having lunch together, which is really good, and it's one of the purposes of these activities. So I'm just going to explain really quickly a regional event that we held in Guatemala, in Antigua, Guatemala, last May, and I'm just going to give you some of the general ideas. The event was organized by the Ministry of Economy of Guatemala and DIACO, which is the direction of the Ministry of Economy, with the objective of protecting and promoting consumer protection in Guatemala. I'm just going to give you some ideas of what we do there. We give education and information to consumers. We have consulting and capacity building for sellers and distributors. We have auditing and verification services, consumer services, legal department, and we have 21 regional offices and 2 local offices in the Guatemalan territory. And this is what the direction is doing. Can we have the next slide, please? So as you can see, the event took place in Antigua, Guatemala, this beautiful colonial town that was built in the 16th century. It is built in 1,500 meters above sea level, and it is a national monument and one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites in Central America. So I'm sure that the ones that participated there already know this beautiful place. If you haven't visited, I encourage you to do so. So the event actually brought together Latin American people that work in competition and consumer protection issues, and it was we had a very good participation from many of the countries here participating today. And we also had some guest speakers. We had Bruno Lasserre, who is the president of the Competition Authority from France. We also have Rafael Corraza, director of COMCO from Switzerland. And we also have Michael Pancera and Diane Cornell from US. And of course, there were some presenters from our Latin American countries as well. So how was the method of work? The inauguration of the event was presided by our vice minister, and was also presented by our director, our former director, who is here today. So maybe she can also share some ideas from the outcomes of this seminar. And we also had the ambassador of Switzerland, Jörg Benz, and the director of the Capacity Building Center of the Spanish Cooperation, Jose Ignacio Ayala Andres, which the Spanish Cooperation gladly gave us the site for the event. How was the method of work? Actually, the group was divided in 2. There was one group that discussed topics on consumer protection and the other one on competition. And after these groups took place, then they made a plenary session where both groups shared their conclusions and the discussions. And I think that this goes very well with what we discussed in the previous session on the plenary, where there were some relationship between consumer protection and competition law, and that was encouraged for the discussions to take place like this. So apparently this event was future-looking, and it was already included. Regarding the topics that were discussed, there were some competition and consumer protection in regulated sectors such as medicines, telecommunications, and energy sector. And there were also some roundtables regarding best practices and institutional methodology for consumer protection agencies and impacts of regulated sectors. So can I have next? So some important outcomes and results, of course, the exchange of experiences and the views and exchange of best practices among participants were very important. There were also very important discussions regarding the latest trends in the regulated sectors and identification of challenges, but as well identification of possible solutions and share of experiences of what solutions have worked in the region and what solutions have not worked. There was also a very important outcome. There was the signing of the Interinstitutional Cooperation Agreement between the Consumer Protection Agency of Panama, ACODECO, and the Consumer Protection Agency of Guatemala, DIACO. So this was just a very brief resume of this activity, but since I was an intermediary and I realized that these activities take a lot of effort, not only from the team of COMPAL, but also from the countries that are hosts to these events. And I think that the outcomes are very tangible, and I hope that you can continue this very good work of COMPAL. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deborah, and thank you, Sylvia, as well, for hosting. It was indeed very successful, and we really felt at home. I would now like to give the floor to our dear friend Eber Tassano, who has been the president of INDECOPI for quite some time now and has been one of the godfathers of this third phase of the program. So please, Eber, you have the floor.
Thank you, Arnau. Thank you for the invitation. For INDECOPI, in the start, the COMPAL program has become a key channel to effectively analyze content, get strong, and building technical assistance. After two successful phases of COMPAL cooperation in Peru, this year saw the start of COMPAL 3, which focuses on two strategies. One, consolidation of knowledge acquired and strengthening regional cooperation. And two, support and assist the private sector to comply the laws of competition and consumer protection. Through this year, COMPAL has become a regional initiative to strengthen institutions, systems, and laws, as well as the competition and consumer policies of its member country. Also, COMPAL has allowed a rich exchange of experience and synergies among its members, resulting in the creation of a regional network of competition and consumer authorities. The integration of markers involves a strong competition in Latin America and generates economic development for the benefits of all consumers in the region. For that reason, the pending agenda for INDECOPI consists in the strengthening of the economic international context to all levels, to have a sustainable development. In that line, I propose the formalization of the mechanism to institutionalize the advance of legal frameworks and policies resulting from the COMPAL Convergence program. In the case of INDECOPI, and finally, as a result of various activities undertaken by Peru under this program, it is important to mention the INDECOPI, the Escuela INDECOPI COMPAL that has mentioned by Cynthia. This is a very amazing experience because all the people that had came for that course now are talking with a great network in all Latin America and are changing all the experience that they have, and we have a very strong authorities because they share all his experience. In that line, I hope that COMPAL have another phase in the future, and for that it's very important to have the participation of all countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Everett, and really thank you for all the support you've done and all the guidance you've done to the COMPAL team over the years. We hope to take that one even further if we can. Let me just go through some ideas that have percolated so far. What are the characteristics of the program? Well, one is the regional dimension. Having 16 countries coming together in every single event means that we get a lot of good connection, good networking, and also a lot of very concrete results for international cooperation. The second one is that it is demand-driven. So we always have consultations with our donor, whom I will give the floor in a few moments, on what are the big lines, but it is for beneficiary countries to decide really what are the issues that are going to be covered and how we're going to cover them. A second very important characteristic in this sense, after demand-driven, is its co-financing. All activities are financed between 50 and 70% by beneficiary countries, which means that there's a very high level of appropriation. The third characteristic is that COMPAL right now, there's a reach out not only to governmental authorities, but also to business empowerment, business and consumer empowerment. So we're trying to even go over the, let's say, the institution of our members and go directly to where most help is needed. And finally, we try to strive for excellence in the implementation of the program. We have implemented a very solid RBM system that has found both the recognition from our members and our donor, and we're grateful for that. Finally, I would just like you to go and visit our website. Everything is there, all reports, all presentations. We've got more and more coming up, and you'll get a really good feel of what COMPAL is. I would now like to give the floor to all of you to participate in the program, and I will start with Switzerland, followed by Consumers International. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me introduce myself. I'm Edouard G. from the Swiss mission to the WTO in Geneva. Switzerland has been a strong supporter and donor of COMPAL since the launch of the program in 2005 and was also closely involved in the development of this program. We are therefore pleased to be able to contribute to these side events by sharing a few thoughts from our point of view. Switzerland, in the context of its cooperation, economic cooperation and development program, managed by the SECO, wants to promote the sustainable economic growth in its partner countries and their integration in the world trade and economy. Competition and consumer protection plays an important role in this regard. They represent a central factor to ensure a smooth and effective operation of markets. Competition fosters innovation and efficiency. On the one hand, this leads to a better competitiveness of local enterprises, thereby facilitating and promoting their participation and integration in world trade. On the other hand, competition paired with a sound consumer protection system maximizes the well-being of consumers due to better quality and prices. It was with this in mind that in the first year of the new millennium, UNCTAD and SECO started to work together and promote the development of strong and sustainable competition and consumer protection system. In 2005, COMPAL was launched in 5 Latin American countries where interest and demand for work in this subject area was particularly strong. Since then, COMPAL has experienced an impressive development. What began with 5 countries evolved into the main platform on competition and consumer protection in Latin America, and a successful strengthening of national competition and consumer protection systems in many of the COMPAL members. From Switzerland's point of view, 2 important success factors of the program were the following. First, the combination of regional and national activities, and second, peer learning among COMPAL members. So first, the combination of regional and national activities that allow to strengthen national systems with tailor-made support programs while also promoting the regional exchange on the subject and thus strengthening cooperation and coherence in the region. And second, peer learning among COMPAL members in the framework of a number of regional conferences and different forms of cooperation among COMPAL members. COMPAL today is a significant forum for active peer learning and exchanges, as we saw from the different presentations today. The COMPAL membership appreciates and actively uses these opportunities and has grown into a very strong community. We would also like to acknowledge the strategic role that UNCTAD has played with regard to the promotion of competition and consumer protection. Due to UNCTAD's work, the subject of competition and consumer protection with regards to competitiveness and trade has gained momentum, and its importance was recognized. UNCTAD has implemented the COMPAL program with a lot of commitment and has contributed significantly to what COMPAL stands for today. We would also like to recognize the strong and lasting commitment of our partner countries in the COMPAL community, which has made it possible for COMPAL to make such important achievements. With COMPAL 3, the third phase of COMPAL, the Competition and Consumer Protection Program of Switzerland is coming to a close, and Switzerland is thus concluding its involvement in COMPAL. And I was also happy to hear that for some of the presenters today, the program has come to some kind of maturity. So the question will be the next, to discuss the next phase. However, UNCTAD and the COMPAL members are looking into a continuation of the program and have already developed interesting ideas on how to foster and further promote the strengthening and development of competition and consumer protection system in Latin America. And with that, I would like to end and encourage other countries and donors interested in this topic to exchange with UNCTAD and the COMPAL members, as we believe that COMPAL holds very valuable opportunities for cooperation and has the potential to continue to make important contribution to the economic development of the partner countries. When I said that the third phase of COMPAL was the ending phase for Switzerland, it means that we entered now into the third phase, and it will go up to 2018. And then that will be the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Switzerland, for this very encouraging intervention. And this is precisely the object of this side event, is to make all of us here be able to participate in COMPAL and to engage further in COMPAL. I would now like to give the floor to Consumers International.
Thank you, Arnaud. In 2002 or 2003, I was participating in a meeting in the UN here in Geneva, and I was invited to visit UNCTAD. And by that time, I heard for the first time about the COMPAL idea and project. So I am a kind of survivor, so to speak, of that early stages of COMPAL. And the growth and the strength of COMPAL since that time is evident and also so warmly welcome. Most of the things I think about COMPAL project were broadcasted shortly before. I think it was and it is a very important tool to engage those who are working on competition and consumer protection policies to work together, to learn from each other, and to advance further. And for Consumers International, it was very important to be invited to participate in several activities that happen with COMPAL or during the COMPAL project. And I'm sure that COMPAL is here to stay. And and not only that, I think that in this moment, where we are witnessing this landmark activity, which is the first IGE meeting, COMPAL, I think it's more necessary than ever, because it will be a powerful tool to implement the new guidelines and to bring the views, the ideas, the creativity of the Latin American countries into the general discussion of the future of consumer protection. So I hope that we can continue to work together. And allow me to say one last word about COMPAL, which is one of the things I like most about COMPAL is that it allows me not only to meet people and colleagues, but also to have friends all through Latin America. Each time we meet, it's not only that we discuss and exchange about what is consumer protection, but also about our lives. And that is an important part of achieving good results. So congratulations for all the work done, and well, here we are for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonino, for your encouragement as well. I would now like to give the floor for maybe over 5-10 minutes to any questions or suggestions or things that spring to mind of any of the participants here. Please, Laura.
Thank you and good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Laura Best and I'm from South Africa. I'm a part-time member of our National Consumer Tribunal and I'm based at the Nelson Mandela University. It's really a privilege for me to be with you this afternoon to be learning about COMPAL, what's happening in Latin American countries. And I'm really inspired by the peer learning that has taken place clearly in COMPAL. And on the basis of that, I'm very hopeful that there can be lessons already coming from COMPAL as a building block for the peer review program that we are going to be embarking upon, as we discussed in our earlier session. I think the fact that countries have learned so much from each other would already, if we looked into what you have learned, could provide a good framework for some of the issues that could form the basis of the format for the peer reviews that are going to take place. So congratulations on your work and thanks for the inspiration.
Thank you, Laura. I am sure that COMPAL, and especially the COMPAL members, they have a lot to bring to the peer review and the peer learning. So we also look forward to that. Does anyone else would like to take the floor now? Well, if that is the case, I would like to close by thanking you and thanking all the panelists for being here, for encouraging the UNCTAD Secretariat in implementing the program. We, as Antonino said, we are very devoted to this program, and it is something that is very dear to the UNCTAD staff. So we hope to be bringing you to the fourth phase of COMPAL with such interesting and exciting activities that require and imply regional cooperation as a one-stop conciliation for online disputes. For example, that is one of the projects, but also the continuation, of course, of the Indecopy school with COMPAL, and of many more activities that we will develop with our members and hopefully with future partners. So thank you very much for coming here and see you very soon. Oh, sorry, Ana Maria, you would like to take the floor.
Y quiero agradecer enormemente a COMPAL y a México, primero a COMPAL por haber sido designado y en segundo lugar a México por ser la agencia que nos va a recibir en algo muy importante para nuestra agencia, que es la resolución de conflictos transfronterizos. Con el programa CONCILIANET creo que vamos a poder solucionar muchos de los problemas. Así que gracias a COMPAL y gracias a México por la oportunidad también. Así que mi agradecimiento es enorme.
Maria. Thank you very much, Ana Maria. I will summarize her intervention. Ana Maria was thanking COMPAL program and also Mexico because Uruguay has been awarded an internship to be able to replicate the online conciliation system that Mexico is implementing right now, and which should be the base for the program's next step, especially for COMPAL 4. That is an online conciliation mechanism for all member countries to be able to increase confidence in markets, in regional markets for all consumers, especially online consumers. So thank you very much for this. We look forward to that. Our next activities are on 28th of November till the 2nd of December. It's the Indecopi COMPAL School on competition advocacy. We have a workshop and working group on trade and competition in Roatan from 2 to 4 December, which will bring all members of CELA both on competition and on trade. And we also have those internships that Ana Maria was referring to in 31st of January. So thank you very much. I don't know if anyone would feel now inspired to take the floor. Well, if that is the case, thank you very much now and see you very soon.
Estás muy cansada. A mí no me gusta hablar. No, a mí tampoco me encanta la verdad. A mí no.